This is Gerardo Del Real with Resource Stock Digest. Joining me today is the president and CEO of Skyharbour Resources, Mr. Jordan Trimble. Jordan, how are you today?
Doing great. Good to be back on and looking forward to catching up.
Well, listen, anytime that you hit high grade and then you hit high grade on a step out, and then you hit high grade on a step out and it's shallow and it happens to be, in the Athabasca Basin, those are all great words to see in the news release. So you put something out this morning, you intersected high grade uranium in a significant 42-meter step out. That was hole ML 2415. It returned 4.74% U308 over 1.5 meters within 6.4 meters of 1.50% U308 at the co-flagship Moore Uranium Project. I would love for you to provide the context on that hole. I know it's a step out one for several reasons. We chatted a bit off air, but congrats. That's a great hit.
Yeah, no, thank you. And, the key there is the distance, the step out distance of over 40 meters. It's for those that aren't familiar with Athabasca Basin high grade uranium deposits, that's a big step out. You can prove up a lot of uranium in 40, 50 meters. And so for us, this hole, as I mentioned to you offline, and we highlight in the press release, is likely the most consequential hole that we drilled at this project in the last several years. It's not, as I mentioned, the best in terms of grade and thickness. It's very, very good. Nothing wrong with, just under 5% over 1.5 meters, and that's within a larger 6.4 meter zone of 1.5% U308. We've had grades as high as 20+%, and other drill holes where you look at the number and you'd say, okay, well, that's a better hole in terms of the grade thickness. But this hole was really the first hole that had been drilled in a while as a very large step out east of what we thought was the extent of the high grade core at the Maverick zones, particularly the Maverick East zone. And we were not expecting to see 3+% higher grade mineralization, and we actually had half a meter of over 5%. So what it's shown us is that the high grade core does continue along strike. Obviously, we've seen now this step out hole to the east. Presumably, there's more that could be found going in the other direction as well. Clearly, what's happening is the high grade core is pinching and swelling because we see widespread mineralization, and in a lot of cases, we see lower grade, call it sub 1% material that's widespread, but having hit now this higher grade mineralization in such a significant step out, that really gives us the confidence to go in there with future drilling and to continue testing along strike as we step out to the east. And that's just what we're going to be doing here in the summer months. As we mentioned in the press release, we are going to be following this up with a summer drill program that'll consist of about 5,000 meters. That'll kick off here in July, take us right through into August. Just a quick update on where we're at with the drilling, this 2025 drill campaign. We talked about in previous interviews, we're carrying out an initial first phase of drilling, about 5,000 to 6,000 meters at Russell. We're going to be wrapping that up here. We're very, very pleased with what we're seeing there. Assays are pending, so we're going to have some more news flow over the coming months from that. And then we're going to move the rig over here shortly to Moore Lake, follow up on the results that we announced this morning. Keep in mind, these were results from the last little bit of drilling we did late last year. Fortunately, we will see a quicker turnaround with the labs going forward. There was a huge backlog in 2024 of assays. So pretty much every company using the same lab unfortunately had to wait, but we now have those numbers in. We've reported them. Again, a very significant development hitting that kind of high grade in that large of a step out. And it's great because it's shallow mineralization. Again, at our Moore Lake project, which we own 100% of, the high grade mineralization along that Maverick corridor, that structural corridor, is relatively shallow within about 280 meters of surface, which again is quite interesting going forward when you look at it through the lens of one of the two surface mining methods in the Athabasca Basin, SABRE and ISR. What we have here are several high-grade pods of uranium, relatively shallow, predominantly sandstone hosted. So finding more mineralization like we've announced this morning is significant. And we believe that now, having seen what we've announced this morning, there's more to be found stepping out to the east, but there's also potential at depth in the underlying basement rock. So we will be testing that as well. And then, as I mentioned, it's not just out to the east. There is the thought now that we could step out to the west or to the southwest, and there's about 6 kilometers of more or less untested ground and targets to the southwest from these high-grade zones that historically had very little to pretty much no drilling. A part of that was there was no modern geophysics carried out on that part of the property. We've carried that out here. We've carried out those programs recently. We've garnered and refined drill targets. So in addition to following up on the results from this morning, stepping out along strike, we're also to the east, we're also going to step out to the west and drill some exploratory holes on what appears to be a big regional structure that contains this main conductive fertile corridor. And we're going to go test that down to the southwest, and actually trends right on to our adjacent Russell Lake project.
Listen, that's a lot of drilling. You had mentioned at the commencement of it that it was going to be the most aggressive you'd ever been. You're doing it at 2 projects, and I think the timing's absolutely perfect. Before I let you go, if I could just get your brief take on what we talk about every time you're on, right? Your fingers on the pulse of the uranium space. A lot of things are moving, a lot of things are changing. What are you seeing and hearing out there?
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, I'm just trying to recall our last interview, and I'm pretty sure it was before the big announcement out of the White House a few weeks ago.
Yep.
Needless to say, those several executive orders caught the market's attention. I think it really shows the commitment in the United States to the nuclear industry going forward. I mean, we could talk at length about those executive orders, but really they're just meant to revitalize the U.S. nuclear energy industry, fast-tracking new reactor licenses, overhauling the regulatory processes. I mean, there's talks of quadrupling the nuclear capacity in the United States. The current demand being around 45 to 50 million pounds of uranium required each year for the 90 plus reactors currently operating. Quadrupling that would be a huge amount of new demand coming on, almost equivalent to the current global demand by the middle of the century. So even if it's a portion of that, that's a lot of new demand coming on in one market that, quite frankly, as we've discussed, and as I'm sure most of your audience know, has basically been stagnant for the better part of the last 50 years, thanks to over-regulation and a number of other factors. But a number of reasons why we're seeing the Manhattan Project 2.0, as it's been dubbed, the base load, clean electricity needed to power this burgeoning industry. Nuclear is clearly, as we're seeing with some of the big tech companies more recently signing agreements with nuclear entities and utilities, nuclear power is really the only source of baseload emissions-free electricity, reliable, affordable, and scalable. That's becoming the source of power of choice for these hyperscalers and to power the data centers required for the AI industry. We saw just over on the weekend, Amazon announced a deal. Before that, the big one that caught the market's attention just the other week was Meta. And then, last year it kind of all kicked off with Microsoft and Constellation. So, this is the biggest companies in the world, basically coming into this industry. We're talking, tens of billions of dollars potentially. And, this is big money coming in that needs the power now. It needs the electricity now. So I think it's all kind of working together to, again, create this kind of nuclear resurgence that we're seeing. You're going to see government agencies as well, like the Department of Defense, Department of Energy, help, fast track the rollout of this, which is key. So, again, if we see, even a portion of the quadrupling happen in the U.S., that's, 45 to 50 million pounds of annual demand going to, 180 to 190 million pounds. The U.S. right now is producing less than 5% of its uranium and nuclear fuel requirements. So that's where, again, the Athabasca Basin and other reliable, safe jurisdictions come in to, meet that growing demand. So look, a lot of positive headlines. The spot price we've seen tick up. It's been flat here the last few weeks, which is not abnormal given the time of year. But I think this fall, to be honest, I think it'll start actually this summer, but really get going in the fall. I think it's going to be one of the best ends to the year we'll see for this industry in a long time. I just think all the stars are aligning, and we're in a great position right now. Skyharbour is to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more with everything you said. I'm excited. I've been saying this since last year, that I was excited for last year, and we did great last year, but I was really excited about the second half of 2025. And that extends to copper, that extends to gold, that extends to silver. It's all kind of materializing simultaneously in different sectors, but exciting times for Skyharbour. Looking forward to having you back on, and let's do it again soon.
Thanks, Gerardo. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime. Thank you, Jordan. Hey everybody, Gerardo Del Real here. If you're enjoying the content that you just saw, you can let us know in 3 simple steps. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and please share across your network and on social media. Take care, everybody.